Welcome back to Tea Talk with Sarah. I got some stuff to get off my chest. Just then, the one big beautiful bill keeps stripping women of their rights, of their voice, of their professions. Let me tell you what happened. According to the Trump administration, there are a list of degrees that are not deemed as professional. These degrees are nursing, physician assistants, physical therapists, audiologists, architects, accountants, educators, social workers. It has also been reported they have included engineering, a business master's, speech pathology, social workers, as well as counseling. What this means is this will lead to less financial support for people in those fields who are going to school to study that. There has already been, over the past 30 years, a doubled increase in tuition. This leads to how much financial support a student will receive when going to college. Amy McGrath, a candidate for the U.S. Senate in Kentucky, wrote in a post on X, "Can someone explain how a theologian is considered more professional than a nurse practitioner?" As part of the big beautiful bill, the Department of Education just proposed a reclassification of a professional degree. And it means fewer students will qualify for the higher loan limits they need for grad school. Programs being excluded include many fields dominated by women like healthcare, counseling, and social work. This isn't a coincidence. This is a way to quietly push women out of professional careers. Limiting who can pursue advanced degrees in critical professions will only deepen the workforce shortages we're already facing. This white male superiority complex is a system rooted in misogyny and racism and classism. They don't want to compete with you. Women, men, whoever. They don't want to have to compete with anyone. They don't want you to succeed in fields they view as unnecessary or unprofessional. Because they really want you barefoot and pregnant in their home. They want you to take care of them. That's what Make America Great is all about. This is about the assurance of their genetics. They want to maintain their ideologies of the past. And to my people, they never thought you worthy of anything anyway. Every time they place a goalpost and we reach it, they push it. We reach it, they push it again. They reach it, they push it again because they don't want you to be able to succeed past them. When I said, listen to me, black people have always been a threat to white people, and this ain't something that I'm just trying to be controversial about. This is literally history. I was watching on YouTube the PBS documentary of the American coup of 1898 in Wilmington, North Carolina, and they talked about how black people were thriving and prospering after slavery into Reconstruction, and how white people decided that they was going to tear that shit all down with lies and come up with ways to get rid of what they considered Negro dominance, because black people were excelling past white people. They were opening up their own businesses. They were starting their own companies. They were creating their own communities, and they was doing it with pride and beauty and honor. White people did not like that. So you know what they did? They do what they do best, and that's tear down and destroy. And that's exactly what this administration has been doing. We've been so headstrong in fighting about the Republicans and the Democrats, and we all losing this fucking fight. Unless you're a billionaire. There was a governor named George Wallace who once said that he learned that if poor whites and poor blacks actually band together, they would have a great deal of political power. But because of how deeply rooted racism is, poor whites didn't care that they were in the same fucked up conditions as black people. As long as they performed in ways where blacks would not excel, as long as they were praised in ways where black people would not be praised, that's all they cared about. Racism is a sickness. This is about assimilation. This is about keeping you in your place. And the place for women in their eyes has never been anything professional or worthy of opportunities. Hell, they even used to put laws in place forcing black women to go back in the homes and work for white women because white women didn't have no skills. In the World War I, our men were out there on the battlefield sacrificing their life for a country who wouldn't even give us the respect that we deserved. Our women were actually at home taking care of things, making sure our children were being taken care of, educating them, making sure our homes were safe. But you know, because of that, white women were getting upset because they didn't have anybody to work for them. And so they went on ahead and they complained. Their complaints, you know what the city did? They placed a city ordinance requiring black women to find a job. So this not only messed our homes up, but we are back into the homes of the people who have oppressed us, and now we are required by law to do so, when at first we were forced, and now we're being forced again. We're just doing it in a different type of way. And here's a piece of that evidence in this article right here. It says, regardless of whether they want to or have to, able-bodied Negro women in Greenville who are not regularly employed are to be put to work, put in jail, or fined heavily. At a special meeting yesterday afternoon, City Council discussed the situation with regard to this class of loafers at some length. And it seemed that all members of council were agreed that steps should be taken to compel them to engage in some useful occupation. It was decided that an ordinance similar to the one now in force requiring all able-bodied men to work at least 5 days per week should be passed with regard to these women forced into the labor force. But I guarantee you our pay was not the same, which is no different from what today's society is still talking about. It's always been about keeping you where they feel you should be. That is socially, that's religiously, that's economically, and that is professionally. Y'all have a good one.